Hello, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 11. Woohoo! Double numbers. I love double numbers. They amuse me a lot. I just realized I hadn't checked the date. Today is Saturday, September 7th, 2013, and I'm recording a little bit later than usual, so it looks a little more blue dark. I ended up having a pretty busy morning this morning, so I slept in a bit. I went to the post office. So Linda, your package is in the mail, and my grandma's package is also in the mail. And then I stopped by the New Mexico State Fair and I dropped off my entries. So I entered two things. I entered my Dean Bohus pullover, and I entered my even star. So high hopes. So today was the last day to bring in entries, and I realized Thursday that I hadn't finished weaving in the end. So then Friday night, I finally buckled down and got the rest of them down. What I hadn't realized was I was starting from both the top and the bottom, and then I'd work whichever ones were easier. And the ends I had left were in a section that had a lot of pearls, so it was much harder to weave them in. But I finished, and I put my sweater in the washing machine in cold with some wool wash, and then I laid it out to dry. What I did to prevent the seams and creases and stuff is I use these toilet paper rolls, and then I put them in various places in the sweater so that it had this nice even shape to it, which it did, because when I would just lay it flat and have it dry that way, there were very clear lines where it was laying. So I think that did a great job with that. When I woke up this morning, it was still a little damp, so I threw it in the dryer for a bit, and that got it there. So very exciting. All the people who were accepting entries were oohing and ahhing, so I don't know if that's just what they're paid to. Well, they're probably not paid, but as a part of their responsibilities. So tomorrow will be judged, and the fair opens on Wednesday or something like that. So I will probably be going and seeing I definitely have to go and see how I did. So, and we'll see. It might turn out that I still need to grow in skill and experience, but can definitely. And the other nice thing is they actually give you comments. So then I will be able to figure out things to work on and other such things. So this is the first time I've entered a thing into the fair. Coffee. Still drinking the Caribou coffee, Caribou blend. It's delicious. It's probably a little late for coffee since it's close to 5, but whatever. I didn't end up having as much coffee as usual because normally I just spend my mornings drinking coffee and checking out the internet, or catching up with the internet because I sort of fall behind during the week. And then after I was done doing the entries, I ended up going to knitting group. So it was cool to hang out with everyone. There were like 16 people this time. It was a really big crowd. So I think I witnessed the fastest crocheting in my life. Oh my gosh, it was just like whip, whip, whip. And like they weren't like simple stitches, they seemed to be pretty complicated stitches that she was doing. It was quite fascinating. So that was a good time, and now I'm here. So I have a bit more sock done to launch into the knitting. I'm still working on Ashton Windows. The pattern is by Karen Martin Kempner. For some reason that just completely ties my tongue. And I am using Knitterly Things Vesper in the Sweetwater colorway. So today it doesn't look nearly as bright on my computer. But this is, they're just wicked bright. That's all you can say about it. And actually I'll be stopping knitting on them fairly soon because the next row actually involves that. This was just the plain knit row, so I figured I could get a little bit further on it. So now that I'm in the orange stripe, I have one more repeat left to go before I start the toe. So I am very close to being there on this sock, which is good. So perhaps it's telling about how much time I actually get to have knitting. Well, I ended up having a lot of knitting time because I was running a lot of experiments, and so that tends to be a good way to pass the time while paying attention to what's going on. So my normal MO, so I have a heel flap. Oh, my husband texted me. What is it? So I just have the normal heel flap. I have just the one row of orange to continue the striping sequence. And really I just have one more repeat of the pattern left to do, and then it'll be all finished. So this has actually been most of my knitting time, which is probably why it's finally seeing some progress now. Yeah, so it's coming together nicely. I was hoping that I could finish it in time for the fair, but like last night was a late night, so there wasn't time to finish them off quickly. And really, it's the case where it does take several hours in order to make that sort of progress. So, oh well. That's been coming along. Let's see. The other work in progress is I did wind my ball of wool mice and lace. Like I think there's a lesson to be had about knitting with balls of yarn bigger than your head. So what I found worked is in the past when I was winding my wool mice, I had a Swift, but I did not have a ball winder, so I used a Gnomespun? So I created a Gnomespun out of PVC tube. And I would just wind by hand and have it come off the Swift. Now in New Mexico, I did not bring the Swift with me because it's pretty bulky and it's homemade, so it's not really all that sturdy. But I did bring my ball winder with me. So what I ended up doing was I sat on the ground with my knees up, and then I draped the yarn over my knees. And so while I was sitting on the ground, and then I was just turning the ball winder. And that worked really great. I was really excited to find that out because I think I'll be doing that in the future, because what I had initially done was I laid out the skein very carefully on the floor, and then I would follow my hand around, but at some point it just gets really tangled. So this is going to be for my Simplicity cardigan, and well, I might end up destroying the KAL thread if no one's going to join me in the KAL. So it is going to be looking like this. So this is the picture of the designer wearing it two ways. So you can have it tied around your waist, or you can have it just be open with the long sides being all drapey and pretty and such. And I've been swatching. So I have 3 swatches so far. I still need to wash and lay them out. So let's see. Since I'm a loose knitter, I tend to choose a smaller needle than what is normally called for in the pattern. So I started off with 5. And you can see my face through this. Like it's very, very airy. And I just wasn't happy with it. So then I switched to the 4. Yeah. And I tied knots in to tell me what needle size I'd use. And this one I did a bit of a garter border as well. So then this is the 4, so it was better, but it was still not the right gauge. And it seemed like it was the exact same gauge as the 5s. So then today I broke out the 3s. And this is the fabric that I got with the 3s. And I'm much, much happier with how it looks. The stitches are neat. It's a little bit tighter than what's called for, but I know that when I get this wet, it's going to grow a little bit because it is superwash merino. So I think I have a winner. I'll have to think a little bit about which size I'm going to cast on for. So it says that you should have, what is it? You should have 0 to 2 inches positive ease. And then, so the question is whether or not I knit the 38 or if I knit the 42. So I might need to just have some quality time with the schematic and sit down with it and see which one will work better. Let's see. The schematic is all on the last page. So then it has a measurement for how wide the neck is, how long the sleeve is, how wide it is when it's flat, and how long it's going to be. And then it has a couple of things for other pieces. So it doesn't necessarily, so what I would care about would be the width of the shoulders, because that is probably going to be the deciding factor, because it is a flyaway card. You want it to fit nicely in the back. If it's loose in the back, that it will like bunch up weird and stuff like that. So I have too much information time. So I have 36 inches under bust, and then I'm a C cup, which means that I'm 39 inches around the widest part of my bust. So that would mean that if I knit the 38, it would be +1, or it would be -1, unless they're counting for the underbust measurement, in which case it's probably perfect. So I might end up emailing the designer, Mary Annarella, and asking. Or take some time and study the Knit to Fit and Flatter book and try to figure out what it is that I need to do exactly in order to make it work. The fabric is going to be gorgeous. Oh my gosh. The colorway of the wool myso that I'm using is the Chim Chim Chimney colorway. And since it is a semi-solid, it tends to be a pretty easy one to get a hold of. And so lovely. So it's a little bit, well, it's blue, so it's definitely in my comfort zone, but it's a little bit different because it does have the grays in it. So I'm definitely really excited, and I'm hoping some of you guys will join me. You guys are so quiet. I'm trying to figure out ways to increase group interaction, so I was hoping a KAL would help. I don't, like, if you want to comment in the KAL thread about if you just want to have a general sweater knit along instead of a simplicity knit along, that would be cool. So if you would be interested in doing that instead of doing a specific pattern, I would be more than happy to edit the thread. So, because I want it to be inclusive and fun, and to be able to chat about what we're making, and yeah. So hopefully we can find something that works. Yeah. So one of the things that I actually got around to doing was I blocked my Daybreak shawl. So, and then at knitting today, oops, I didn't cut the ends. At knitting today, I ended up finishing weaving in the ends. So this is it blocked in its full glory. And the women at knitting suggested that I could wear it as a skirt in addition to a shawl and whatever else. So it's the only thing that I wish had happened with blocking is I had put an increase on the wrong side. I don't know if you guys can even see that. So there's a big stitch, or a big 2 stitches about there, which blocking didn't necessarily even it out. But oh well, such is life. So now it can be seen in its full. It's big. I don't know if I wanted it to actually be this big, but it is absolutely gorgeous as well. So this is going to be super warm. It's super soft, and it's rainbow colored. So finally, completely finished object. The Daybreak shawl by Stephen West, knit in Malabrigo lace in the Azure colorway, and the shoppable lace ball. And there's some number that goes with it, but I'm just calling it the rainbow colorway. So, and I think it'll go with pretty much any of my t-shirts because I'm a t-shirt girl. So, really excited with how this turned out. And glad that it's completely finished. I'm thinking when the time comes to block it again, I'll put the wires further from the edge. I ended up, for each segment, I had a wire going through it, and then I pinned it out so that it would be as flat as possible. But it turned out to be, and then for this section, I gave it an organic sort of curl that just seemed to make sense. So, it was definitely challenging to block because I was trying to make it so that the segments would come out as straight as possible, and so you could tell when sections weren't wide enough and stuff like that, because then the lines would be curved, or 2 lines would be curved like this, and you're like, oh, I'd better pull it out this way. And so it was more challenging to block than I thought it would be. Yeah, it was just interesting. So, all done. Very happy. And I probably have enough left to make a small version. We'll have to see. Or if I decide to use my extra Malabrigo lace for something different. All right. So I really didn't get a chance to do much spinning this week. I did about 2 armfuls, but oh my gosh, I was just so frustrated. Actually, let me get this. Sorry. So, I tried to do a little bit yesterday, and it just kept on coming apart. So this is how much I had to just toss, because it just wasn't even holding together at all. It was so frustrating. So I got maybe about 2 armfuls done. I'm like, fine, stop. I need to stop. This isn't working. So it might just be I need to calm down and just listen to some music or something. But so I have 2 wraps done on the shaft so far. So maybe it turns out that tonight will be a good night for spinning, because I'm probably not going to start on the knitting of my sweater quite yet. So that was my Gnomespun Shetland top in the Sapphire Surprise colorway. And since the Handspun KAL has already started, I probably just need to get in gear. No more time for procrastination. So the last thing is from the Department of Stashquisitions. So I did Stash in whatever from May until sometime in August. And so what that entailed was to knit 4,000 meters of yarn in that time period. So that was either spinning, weaving, knitting, crochet, whatever. And so this year I barely but finally made it. in the past it's been a 5K, but 4K was a reasonable amount for someone who has a day job. So, and the fact that I was spinning and knitting, and so I had, what probably pushed me over the line was A, I was spinning like a fiend because I was taking the spinning class, and B, I had Even Star, which was a beast. So I had finished Even Star in the time period, and I had spun a lot. So what I ended up getting, and then since I was one of the people who finished, I was entered into a prize drawing, and this is what I won. So this is Regia hand dye effect. So it's this gradient yarn, and so what's probably interesting about it is, so it has this, it's like a wrapped yarn, so it really is the same. So you probably have the 75-25, or the 70-25 merino, or is that even merino? It's wool and nylon. And then there's this black thread wrapped around it, which I believe is the acrylic. When they were handing out when they were pulling out prizes, then Leslie of the Knit Girls has made a depreciating remark about this yarn. So I can see now with it in my hands that even though they think it's for socks, it's really a single, and it's not actually meant for sock knitting. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it at the moment. I would almost be inclined to give it an overdye with blue and make it more of a teal color, because green, like, it's probably good for variety purposes, but you know me, I like blue. So this will be thrown in the stash box, and perhaps when I'm reunited with my food coloring, then I'll go ahead and reskein it and do something fun. Probably, and it's probably going to be a shawl. This one's pretty. So it is 100 grams, 420 meters. So it is very generous in length. So I'm thinking shawl at some point. There's already some blue tone in it already, so it's sort of a blue-gray and black. So I think it would be really pretty with a wash of blue over it. I think. Oh, it probably isn't quite everything. I had forgotten. So I don't know. I did talk about my hexagon socks last week, and now that it looks like I am going to be close to finishing it, I'll open up the stash box. Now that I'm going to be close to finishing it, I probably need to start thinking about the next pair of socks, which is going to be made out of this. So this has many purposes. This is going to be, so in Sock Knitters right now, we're running a Halloween and Fall KAL, and I can't, like, wrong way. Like, this is obviously Halloween yarn. So it has the orange, the bits of burgundy red, and then this green color. So really, it's changing leaves. And this is Jitterbug, and it's going to be socks for my husband, so I'm making hexagon socks, which I talked about last week. So I'll probably be winding this pretty soon, using my knee swift. And it'll be quite nice. And normally I use my stash box as like an end table so that I have some place to put my coffee, but this is my stash box. So I have most of the yarn in Ziploc bags, and like it's not super duper big, and it's definitely whatever, I have yarn all over the place. It's definitely way more yarn than I can possibly knit in a year. Like, I feel like I've hardly made a dent in it at all. So, what can you do? So, definitely coming together. Yeah, I'd forgotten about the handspun KAL. I really need to get cracking on the spinning. Because I'd hate to like miss the KAL completely. So those are my two future projects. So socks for my husband. As soon as well, if it turns out I finish the spinning before I finish my Ashton Windows socks, then I'm probably just going to start the shawl then. Not that I'm too worried about it. For next week, I won't be recording next week. I'm going on a trip to Boulder, Colorado, and so it's like I really can't find a way to justify doing a podcast then. So I will be recording on let's see, I believe that would be the 21st of it'd be the 20th of September. So is it Friday the 3rd? No, it would be the 21st of September with episode 12. I'll have to think about what I'm going to name this episode. Maybe when I watch it again, I'll figure and let's see. I think that's everything. So, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.